Yesterday afternoon, I was standing out in front of Asrar and Mariam's apartment with the rest of their family and my new friend Tom, who, besides being the husband of Diana, a friend of St. John's who comes regularly to our centering prayer services and sometimes on Sundays, and has the added distinguishing feature of being a vigorous retired male with a large truck. And a young man, about 18 or 19 years of age, with fair skin and curly kind of ginger hair, walked up and introduced himself as Jeremy. And I said, "Oh, Jeremy, your mother told me about you." And his face kind of looked puzzled, and I said, "We were on a Zoom call yesterday talking about how to organize rides for the Afghan refugee families here in Petaluma." And he kind of nodded a little bit and said, "And who are you?" Fair question. And I explained in short terms, kind of who I am a little bit, and he seemed not particularly impressed, and then went over to Asrar's brother-in-law, Mariam's younger brother, Haris, who he had met earlier in the week, and they'd exchanged contact information and had made a date to go for a little walk together that afternoon. And so they set off. And I thought to myself, this is what I had in mind. When Francis Fraser and I went over on a Sunday, seems like ages ago, about a month ago, to meet Ali and Zahora and their three adorable children, the first of these Afghan refugee families that we had encountered here, and kind of started to get the picture of what might be needed to welcome these families and help them to begin to feel at home here in this community where there is no existing Afghan community. I got this idea that what it was really going to require was that we invite as many people as we could in the broader Petaluma community to become their friends. And before yesterday, at least as far as I was concerned, this was just an idea that became a page on our website with a volunteer form that people could fill out. But yesterday in Jeremy and Haris, that idea became a reality. And who I am really doesn't matter very much at all. All right, it's catchy. Our gospel story today is a little bit like that, about an encounter of two people, two women, and the fetal John the Baptist, for whom the idea that the Messiah is about to be born and that they themselves are going to play principal and indispensable roles in bringing about the fulfillment of God's promises made through the prophets to Israel. That idea has, for them, just been private words spoken by angels. But when Mary comes in haste from Nazareth to visit her kinswoman Elizabeth in a town in the hill country of Judea, Elizabeth, who had her own revelation from God through her husband, Zechariah, and is in the 6th month of her own miraculous pregnancy. In the meeting of these two women, this crazy idea all of a sudden becomes something more than that. It becomes real in the birth of a community, in the birth of a story that is no longer simply a private imagining, but one that is shared, a secret that is shared between them and about to break forth and include others, to include Joseph and some shepherds and some wise men from the east, to include some disciples, and eventually to include all of us. The birth of God's Messiah, the coming of the Christ, is in this story still hidden. Jesus is silent and invisible, and yet these women, filled with the Holy Spirit, can see him coming. They can already see what it's going to mean. Mary can already see God's promised day of transforming all human relations. That through her faith, her knowledge that the Almighty Creator of the universe has looked upon her lowliness with favor, that the proud have been scattered in the imagination of their hearts, the lowly have been lifted up, the hungry have been filled with good things, and the rich sent empty away. The secret of the coming of Christ cannot be hidden for long. In a little less than a week, we will gather here again to celebrate the fruition of that promise in a story beloved not only by Christians, a story that has, as it were, infected the popular imagination of the world, a celebration of the imagination of every one of us. A celebration of the fact that God comes to each one of us. That Christ is born not simply as an isolated fact of history, something that happened and is over and is a datum to be recorded in the history books. but is a vision, a dream, a song, a prayer, a hope that can infect our hearts, that can come to birth in our lives. And in so doing can transform everything. It's a dream that is as fresh and miraculous and possible today as it ever was.